I didn't forget. Welcome everyone to the LIBERcast for the 68th episode. This episode it's called A Matter of Time, and I want to bring in this episode people attention and where they're putting attention and the quality of it. And we're talking about time and the principle of rhythm. And thank you for joining. And if by the way, if you have question in French or English, I can translate them. So if you have question in French and you want to ask some question about things or comments, I'm gonna look for it in the comment section. So I'm having David with me tonight. Welcome.
Fred, my man, it's so good to be back here. It's awesome,
So
man. We're gonna have
before
so much fun tonight.
I yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna talk about one or two things. So we are both parts of the One Great Word Network from Marpasio. It's a conglomerate of researchers and occultists and the occultists that are working and they're making a beautiful work. There's plenty of stuff to keep you awake at night in that. So you have knowledge about the occult, you have spirituality, you have like everyday news, you have like me who talk about like psychology, some will talk about occultism and things like that. So I invite you to go explore the people. There's by the way, there's French people there too. So go see on the creators um, section of the One Great Work Network. After that, I want to thank Love Evolution for and Amy for being very generous with me. And this podcast isn't sponsored. I do it willfully because these product there. I take them and it's very good. So seriously, it's very good. So go see there. She's they are a product that are um, eco friendly, and there this is a roots. We have their Irish sea moss, bladderwrack, and burdock roots. It's beautiful. I like it very much. So thank you, Amy and Love Nation, for the good product, the healthy product that can send to us. So I want to welcome you again, David, and once again we're doing a cooperation in this, and it's totally improvised. So we'll see where it gets. I wanted to talk about like I thought I was to be alone tonight, so I prepared something, but I'm happy to have you tonight once again, David. So before we start, where can people get your work, because you're multi-talented, you have multiple avenue in your art and the great work. So I encourage people to see there, but where they can get it.
Yep. The best place to find me and my creations is at my website, which is freedomvibe.art, just like it says in the name cue, freedomvibe.art. I publish pretty much everything that I do there, and also a lot of content from other creators. So kind of like the One Great Word Network or other online resources for this kind of information. I try to share obviously other people's creations, but you'll find all my stuff there. Of course, I'm on all the social media, so if you're on Facebook, you can add me there or follow freedomvibe.art. I have a YouTube channel, Odysee, Three Speak, pretty much all the social media platforms, I've got a presence. So, but the website's probably the best place.
So let me see in the comments. I want to really look into it. It's part of the LIBERcast.
Yeah, we should encourage people to ask questions to
Yes,
make it interactive.
absolutely.
If you guys
If you
can,
have questions,
yeah, please ask questions. That's all I can
et
say.
pour les personnes qui parlent français, posez vos questions en français, que je puisse faire la traduction. Je pourrais traduire vos commentaires et vos questions pour les francophones. So it's so I just want to say before we begin then that I am very happy with all these beautiful people that I had to the LIBERcast, the French people. I welcome every one of you and thank you for taking a ride with me in the realm of the occult knowledge, and just to uh, remember that you need to go to look for yourself and not just listening to me or David or any great workers or other people. Just do your own work, and it's very important. I just want to remember people that, because some people will take this work as a religion, they'll see it as a cult or something like that, but it's not. It's about the occult,
Oh, no.
and the occult is hidden knowledge about ancient psychology, and it's very important to really caught up and get to the point and do your own work and start with the principles. And this is what we're going to talk about, a principle, the principle of rhythm or time or change. So what
Can I just add something?
Yes.
Can I just add something? Yeah,
Yes.
just from what you just said, that the thing you just said was really important. So I want to kind of emphasize it. You talked about that what we're doing is not a religion, it's not a cult. It's actually the opposite. This is the real door to freedom. See, it's really about letting go of fear. The main thing that keeps people from looking into occult knowledge is fear. That's really it. It's that simple. They're afraid of something. So we're just talking. All we're encouraging people to do is to look at the nature of reality. There's really nothing mystical about it. We want to level the playing field. We want people to understand how reality actually works, and not, shy away from learning all aspects of our nature and the nature of the universe. And the ironic thing is, when you start to learn this, and you don't even have to go very far down the path, you will become immune to religion and cults. You will not be able to. Your mind won't even be able to grasp how you could be in a religion or a cult, because you literally are freeing your mind. So that's how crucial this is. It's really just about letting go of that fear and being willing to accept new knowledge.
And yes, I mean, you're saying it, and this is this is the thing that we need to put the finger on, is what you believe. It doesn't matter in this realm of the effect that we all choose, the realm of the effect, and we're confronted by things that we cannot control. And it's not because you don't have control over it that is bad. And natural law as such is a force of nature. We can align with it, and we can bind it a little bit. You can balance things. You have to do some tweaks and things to align yourself with it. And it's simple. It's very simple. You can Natural law, they are observable, they're provable, and you can go see yourself and it's important, because this is the point where you know that you're sovereign being. when you understand natural law, you understand sovereignty and freedom. And you will discover soon how insidious and evil is religion and cults. We Yes, the occult, I want to repeat it. The occult, as there's cults, there's dark cults that are spawned from it, from the occult. There's still ones that are hooked, and with this differential of power of knowledge, and it's very empowering when you understand when you start to understand and use it, how powerful it is to know these laws, because there are laws that we cannot control. So we're gonna talk about precisely about time, because time is part of the natural law, and this is why I talked about the principle of rhythm, because rhythm is cycles, is change. And why do I say that time exists? Because change exists. It's different on every scale. Some animals, their time will be shorter. Some creatures are going their life gonna be longer. you know it's like like the empires, like the governments and the tyranny, and and the cycles of cleansing and war and things like that, because we don't learn. We refuse to learn the obvious, that we are really dependent on the point of view of time, because we have a point of view of almost everything. It's matter for interpretation, but time exists, and it's precious, and it is. And please, David, um, if you're comfortable to talk about it, how time is used as a currency, and how.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone looks back in their life, and I've done this many times and I still do this, you can see how valuable the time is. And the best way to see this is to look back and think of the things that you could have done, that maybe you contemplated doing, but you never actually did, and the cost of, what it would take to do them starting now. Not that you can't do things at any point, but imagine how your life would be different if you did something when you were younger that you had an intention to do instead of waiting, right? Time is the real currency. Time is the real currency. It's the real thing. That time and attention are what have been called the true currencies, because they are the things that we have inherently, that we don't need to acquire because we're gifted with them in this lifetime. And they're the things that we have to spend, but we have a limited amount. So it's very precious. If you think about, let's say you have a certain amount of money, but it's only a certain amount. And once you use it up, that's it, right? So time is like that. Actually, it's even worse than money, because money you could always go back and acquire more, conceivably. But with time, at least in this lifetime, you only get one shot, right? So it's really important to cultivate value for the time. I think about it all the time. There's a lot of things are there other things I'd rather be doing? Would I rather just be kicking back and doing nothing sometimes? Sure. But there's a lot of important stuff to do. And at least in my own case, I've realized that I've wasted time in the past, and I wish to no longer do that. I've made a commitment to myself to be more cognizant of my time, and really honor and value it, and think very carefully about how I spend it, and try to spend it as much as possible on on doing the right things, and doing things that I think are important, even at the expense of other things that might be pleasurable in the moment.
And time is the collapse of the present moment. So every minute, every second is a collapse of possibilities. So the one point on that is that what are we doing with our time, and how much quality time you have. And I think this is a question that is relative for most people who will listen to it. For me, for David, is going to be different. We're going to put our time, our energy on different things, different contexts. And but essentially, it's this is the question is, how do you make it worth your time? And we need to get to the point with this, and realize that every second that we're ignoring this situation, they're getting in the front. They're getting uh, 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 um, they're getting bigger, and they're because people forgot what time is. They're wasting ye- needlessly wasting their time on garbage, and we're all guilty of that. But if I don't do, like we were talking about this before we start, and what are you doing with your time? And for me, it's the great work. I chose to take the path of the great work, and this is what I do with my time when I'm not taking care of my family and I'm not taking care of myself. This is what I do. I try, even if it's hard, even if it's not easy, even if we wake up in the morning and we feel like shit, still doing it, helping, sharing, and you will get what you seeding, essentially. And this is an important word because it's joining the natural all together. I mean, people must know it. They must know natural law, at least acknowledge it, and take precious time and give you this wisdom and this knowledge, so you can have better time, so you don't have to run after your time. I mean, we can
Absolutely.
we can do time punts every all night long.
Well, one way to look at it also is first figure out what's most important to you. See, when I when in particular when this whole scamdemic, the COVID 1984 started, and I immediately identified that it was all completely ridiculous, and it was not the way it was painted to be, and it was clearly a psychological operation. I I doubled down on my commitment and say, you know what? I don't want this. I want freedom. First of all, mental freedom. And so I started to invite to myself to learn what it would take to actually create that mental freedom. And so in the beginning, I spent a lot of time just learning, studying, even before I said a word. And then once I had incorporated a certain level of knowledge and had done a certain amount of work on myself, and I could speak confidently about what I had learned, then I started to invest time in creating art and materials to share that knowledge with other people through conversation, through presentations, later through music. Um, But whether it was time, and I still spend time learning, but whether it's time, consuming the knowledge or learning it, integrating it, figuring it out, studying it, or, sharing it, teaching it, explaining it, both of those are invaluable concepts. And we need to prioritize it. And it can be frustrating because the big pull in the world is got to work your job, got to make a living, got to pay the bills, got to do this, that, and the other, and it's a constant source of irritation. I would say it's more of an irritation because I don't ever feel like actual fear that I'm not going to have enough to eat or anything like that. It never really gets to me that it's the fear point, but it's kind of an irritation that I have to be bothered to, quote unquote, spend time just with the basics instead of focusing on things that I deem to be important. That is a bit of frustration. But despite that, I still do it because I know it's the right thing to do, and there's a certain joy in the process, and just like there's a joy having these kind of conversations and actually connecting with people. So ultimately, when you invest your time in this, but it is gonna require a sacrifice because there's a whole bunch of other things that you could be doing with that time that you end up not doing, and I've seen that over and over again.
That's a good point, man. And let's take a minute to contemplate and talk about this, because um we're in an age and era of time that there's a lot of change. There's a lot of an unveiling, and the deceptions are getting, they're getting public with it. They don't hide it anymore. And the time is all it's all we have. So the what we need to do is take our time and sacrifice some of them, because we're doing the great work, we're not doing anything else. We're focusing on one great work, and it's the work of bringing people up and bringing ourselves up, and elevating this small percentage of the population who's gonna actually answer and respond on it. I mean, we're less than 5%. I would say there's we and I want to take a minute to just say that if you have interest, if you have questions, just send them on I'm looking on Facebook, and I'm looking on YouTube. So if you have question, comments, just put them there, and we're gonna do our best to answer to it. And there's
Maybe
yes,
Fred, we can also suggest if you guys wouldn't mind writing just to kind of prime the conversation. Uh,
yes,
if you are just answer it right in the chat, what percentage of the time are you currently doing the great work yourself? Like, are
yes.
you doing the great work? And if so, what percentage? Just give it a rough number. 50% of the time, 100%, 10%.
No, not 50. I
Yeah,
would.
just
I,
write.
m- I mean, if you include shadow working
Yeah.
and and introspection and self observation, I would say 100% of the time.
Yeah. That's kind of
Uh,
what I meant, like all aspects of it.
well,
Yeah.
not when I'm sleeping,
Yeah.
but I cannot remember, so maybe, you know. But I mean, it's 100%, and uh, what we do is it's really living in the now. And I know it is like they're saying it's so much that it doesn't make any sense now, but living in the now is, I mean, what I would describe that the way I live my life. Every day is another day that I'm blessed to be alive and live with my family and having fun with them. Not always, but most of the time we're having fun. We're growing up together, and this is what I do with my time. I try to grow up. I try to mature up, you know. And then if I can, if I have the chance to do it, then I would like to inspire
Yep.
and bring the knowledge to these people and make them sovereign being, not me, themselves. They're gonna make themselves sovereign beings, and this is what we want to do. I mean, I want to do with my work. This is I'm putting time to make make realize that to people that time is precious, and we have to go through and endure. So some most of the time we are having problems of all kind, and we're struggling with time. We're lacking time. We're running after time. But essentially it's not because you're lacking time, it's because you don't take it. You don't take the time, you don't stop, and you're not taking the time you need.
Yep. Alan says he spends 15% of his time on the great work.
That's
And
good.
that's better. That's great. That's better than zero.
Yeah.
That's better than most people.
Yes.
And it's also an honest answer. Like, here I am spending at least a percentage of my time. That means that for Alan, it's a priority. It's somewhere in the priorities. Now the next question might be, great. How can you double down on that? How can you turn that into 30%? What's standing between where you are right now and going even deeper into it to make more of an impact? And so that would kind of be the next question. And then for other people who haven't answered, I know there's other people.
Yes.
So just write what percentage of the time are you spending? If you're not spending any time, be honest and just say 0 or 1, whatever it is. Just be very honest, because there's always going to be a path forward, and that's really what it takes. And for me, the answer, I would say, if you include all of it, the shadow work, the external facing work,
Mm-hmm.
probably around 40% of my time. 40 to 50%, somewhere in that range. And I really try to maximize it. And I would probably make it almost 100% of my waking focus, except maybe just a little bit of time to relax and recreation, things like that. I would probably make it almost my exclusive endeavor, but it has to be sustainable. And that's
Mm-hmm.
probably the same challenge that you and others are facing here, is that no good deed goes unpunished. Sometimes it seems like the harder you try to really help people, the more hate you get, the more ghosting you get. I could, just for laughs, I'll tell a real quick little story here. Someone reached out to me on my Facebook who I hadn't been in touch with for a few years. I'm not going to mention who it is. And they just kind of reached out to me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I was talking to a mutual acquaintance, and I realized that haven't been staying in touch." So I said, "Great. What are you up to?" I was just straightforward. I said, running freedomvibe.art, doing the great work, creating art, helping to spread important knowledge about natural law and create freedom. Go check out what I've done. Go check out my Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
since we're on Facebook. "Oh, that's awesome. I love that you're doing this." He went to my website. Visited my website. Very good. Then in the next part, and I knew him from a business context in the past. Like, we took a course together. So we took sales course together. So that's kind of the context. He comes back and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm still working on my business. If you happen to know anyone who needs help with ABC, XYZ, that'd be awesome." And I said, "That's great." I said, "In fact, I don't know necessarily someone specific, but I have this sponsorship on my website." And I sent them the link. It starts at $11 a month. So we're talking maybe the cost of three times going for a coffee at a coffee shop per month, starting at $11. And it's a win-win-win. You get some publicity. You help me keep this important project going that you said that you recognize the value. And together we are basically helping to get this knowledge in front of more people. So I'm thinking this is a great win. Crickets, absolute crickets after that. like not even a response. And this is kind of the mindset I'm talking about. And I am kind of
Mm,
specifically picking on this person, if in the off chance they happen to hear this. But I'm also picking on all the other people out there who are complacent, who waste their time and their money, but it all boils back to their time. Ultimately, they're wasting their time on a lot of unimportant stuff, and they're not even willing to invest a small amount of energy and time into stuff that really has a chance to help us um,
yes.
get out of the woods. We're here to learn some lessons, and probably the number one lesson that we're here to learn in this lifetime is to keep your eye on the ball, to keep your hand on the steering wheel, to stay in control of your own mind and your own body at all times, and to do the best, make the best choices you can while you're driving that vehicle, while your conscience is in this reality. So, I mean, I can't think of anything more important than that. But yet, the things that people waste their time on. So I know that this is a frustration that I think a lot of us in this community share, is that you know we're literally pouring our heart, soul, we're
Yes.
investing more and more time into this, and they suck us dry, and literally like parasites. They're like, oh, it's so great, and then when it comes to reciprocating, reciprocating could even just be, it doesn't even have to be spending money on a sponsorship. It could be go reshare a video on someone else on your channel with your 5,000 subscribers. Take that post, reshare it, and add your own comment to it. Take a minute to do that because it's so important. That which takes time to do. It takes like what, 5 minutes. Um,
I
it's
mean, there's this is the thing there. Um, if you want to, you can make money off of it, but if you are around your life, if you this is I mean, I wish you the best, but the people who are in charge doesn't like us to talk about sovereignty and spiritual freedom and things like that and natural law. And there's not much money, but the people who are supporting you close on your close uh, peoples that you have around you. So this is a very ingrate job. You we will probably spend our time uh, making the best of ourselves and the great work for no money. And I mean, I don't I'm not waiting for any income whatsoever. I'm not doing it for money. But if you want to, you can. There's a public for that. There's some people you can take all this knowledge and make it a way that it's gonna be you're gonna reach a lot of more people. That's why I know there's someone on the One Great Word Network who wants to do some multi stuff, like Korean Drulat is as like written 2 books. He's making videos, he's making interviews, he made a conference. And then you have uh what's her name? I feel bad about this, just forgot her name. She wrote a book about natural law for kids. I cannot quite remember what the name
I don't
is.
remember her name either, but I remember the context from one of the conferences.
Oh my god. Well, I'll try to look at it during the
Was that
podcast.
Lori or someone else?
It's Martin. I cannot quite remember, but I'm gonna try to find it.
Okay.
Um, so do you have a lot of people who are trying to make arts of it, and I think it's a good thing, and it's a good place to put your time in. There's a lot of people who talk about the occult that are gave their life so we can learn these things. And life can be very hard sometime, and some people are well into that, and I mean, I encourage it as much as I can. And when I found people got interest in it, I want to have them and keep them around. You know, they're generous, good-hearted, well-intentioned people outside, and this are the people we're searching for. That they're willing to sacrifice a little bit of their time for
Yeah,
something that. Yes.
this is this lifetime is all about soul development. You're here to grow. We're here to grow and learn. And so when we do the great work, we are committing more fully to that path of growth and learning. And we're taking our lessons seriously, and we're making a real effort. And that's doing the right thing. And you're absolutely right. If it brings absolutely no money, so be it. If there's a way to tap into abundance, that's great. But we're
Yes.
doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and that's
Yes.
that's really the bottom line. It's not prioritize something else over doing the right thing. So it can get lonely. It can be a bit frustrating. Like I said, sometimes the more good you do, the more it seems like the world's going to push against you, and that's really, you could take that as part of the lesson. How committed are you to that path? How committed are you to your lessons? How committed are you to really walking that talk, to cleaning your house up, to taking a good look at your own behaviors, taking a
Hmm.
good look at being willing to admit when you're wrong. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I was wrong, and be willing to accept that and say, okay, I know I was wrong. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's the change I'm going to make. Here's what I'm going to do moving forward. Here's my new commitment to myself. I'm making a commitment, not taking any external vows. You're not vowing any allegiance to anything outside of yourself, but you're making a commitment within yourself to do something better or do something different. And that is always going to be worthwhile, because delayed gratification might even go across lifetimes, because you don't know when your life is going to be over. But if you can go fully into learning the lessons that you're here to learn in this lifetime, when you do die, when you do pass on, and you have another opportunity to learn in another realm, another reality, another lifetime, another context, whatever comes next, instead of having to go back and repeat lessons because you just couldn't figure them out, or you weren't or you were too lazy, or afraid of something, you did. And probably the chances are good that you will be able to move on to bigger and better experiences, and you'll continue your own soul's spiritual development, your journey, your ultimate journey. So I think that's true, even if someone has to spend their whole lifetime in this lifetime frustrated, near broke, few friends, few opportunities, not a lot of money, but doing the right thing, because that will pay in the end. It may. I guess what I'm saying is, and this might be hard for some people to grasp. Yes, you will probably get something out of it in this lifetime, but ultimately, it's for your spiritual development. It's for your soul's growth. So you may reap benefits from that way, way in the future, and just be aware of that. Don't be attached to that. Just work on yourself. That's really the most important thing. If more people just worked on themselves, even just self-introspection, things would start to change dramatically
Oh
in the
yes,
world.
absolutely. I mean, this is the first place that you need to put your time in yourself, not in narcissist kind of way. It's the how to get back to love for yourself and respect, and confronting all the shadows, the dark corners of your psyche, if you
Yeah.
have some. And I want to talk about this because, I mean, for me, shadow work has been worth my time a lot. I know, I this is not easy. I'm not. I'm repeating myself, and I want to repeat that because this is so important. We need to put more time into healing our this trinity that we have inside: the guts, the heart, and the mind. I mean, the body. We can say guts, but we can say the whole body, because this trinity there is everything. If you don't have any balance in your brain, in your body, in your mind, you are not growing up. You're stuck. You're stuck in this insecurity, this angst, this this sadness, this depression, because you cannot see light where it is when there's light. We see a lot of darkness, but the main goal is to grow this light inside of yourself. And what we're doing for that, we are like enlightening the darkest corners of yourself, for growing up, for getting back your sovereignty as a being, because we're all mind controlled. Everyone is mind controlled. It's a matter of degrees, and the more you learn about it, the more you put time into educating yourself, the better, the freer, the more sovereign you become. Because until you know about how mind control works, you will be the puppet. Nobody can get it away from you. When you learned, when you understand, nobody can get it away from you. It's you have it, so you can correct, you can arrange your life, your decision, your behaviors to be better, to be better. It's simple as that. And you have something you want to add to that?
Yeah, stop. Part of the shadow work is you can stop being afraid of the darker aspects of yourself, and also you learn how to channel all of your different energies, including your frustrations, your angers,
Yes.
you learn how to channel those into your creative work. So I'll give an example, and I share as an example, not to brag about it, but to encourage other people to do the same thing, which is to embrace the creativity within you. So one thing that I started doing this year that I hadn't done before is, in addition to all the other content I create, now I write songs and I sing them. And I have no experience with singer-songwriter, and I'm probably not that good, and that's okay, because I know that I'm starting somewhere, and I know that if I keep practicing and learning and growing, then I'll improve. But I started doing that because I wanted to find new ways to express myself, to allow that full range of expression, to say things that maybe were easier to say in a song lyric than they were to say just directly, right? Or just to try new things. So this doesn't all have to be, painful drudgery. Once you start to break open these new levels, the creative side of you will want to come out naturally, because that is an aspect of you. That part of you wants to express itself. It's in there. Everybody has an artist within them, whether they recognize it or not. It's just the way we express the art. Life is art. The way we express that is going to be different, right? Some people are going to sing. Some people are going to play a musical instrument or a combination. Dancing, we've seen people doing dancing. Dorian is an example of someone who dances, and very creative. Theater, creating film, photography, painting, writing children's books, doing comedy, stand-up comedy. There's so many ways. So these are just a small number of examples of like the most classic examples, but you will start to embrace the joy in life. maybe you'll become a chef, and express your ideas through your dishes. You'll give the names to the dishes to describe concepts that you want to share, and then you'll accompany that with music. Maybe it would be a multimedia kind of art where you'll have some food, some music, and some other things, right? And a light show. I mean, there is no limit, you know, and you can use whatever technology or whatever art mediums are out there to express yourself. That's the beautiful thing, is we want to start to unlock, instead of just being little nanobots in this giant little bots running around in a giant system, feeding the system and maintaining the system. We want to actually reclaim our sovereignty, and part of that is expressing yourself fully and being an entire, becoming the artist, as I like to call it. That's why, for me, being an artist and expressing myself through singing and other ways, even ways that I haven't necessarily even tried yet, that's why it's so important. And that's the good news, is you'll start to unlock that. So it's not going to only be, painful, but you'll have to be willing to face the darkness, at least initially, the things that maybe you've been avoiding, in order to unlock the greater levels of soul development and expression. So, but it's so worth it. I mean, I don't know how to put it any other way. It's so worth it, and the world needs that. The world deserves that you shine, so that we can create a better world.
And yes, absolutely. Um, this is, and I want to bring that this rhetoric, because I think it's a fairly crucial point that we need to bring up. And this is the eighth uh, uh, principle of natural law, that is care. How much do you care to put your time into personal growth and well-being and spiritual health, and how much time are you ready to put in making your food? Do you want to eat fast food and die fastly, or you want to take a little bit of your time more and sacrifice the time for having a better time later? This is so important to get back to ourselves and looking our own agenda, our own time stamp. Where do we put our time, and how much do you put? How much, and what's the quality of it? So if I want, for I can just talk for myself, but when I decided that I had to take the time to heal myself, it's because I was ready to sacrifice any inane things that wasn't very important. And how much stuff that I have, how much money, you know, how much movie I can watch, you know. And one day you're watching things, and you get onto hard stuff, the truth. And some people don't want to put any time there. This is what we need to do. It's like, take your time to look into the truth about yourself, the truth about this world, the truth about the society and this culture. Because this culture that we're living in right now will take the time away from you. They will convince you to give them your time, your energy, with useless, inane things.
Yep. By
And
design.
they
By
don't
design.
want you to get inside. They don't want you to learn about the occult. They don't want you to learn about self-care and survival skills and how to grow food, because the real necessity of life is just that. Can you feed yourself? And you want to add something, David?
Yeah, I mean, what was I going to say about this? So it's, what you said is the distraction. Distraction is the right word. So this world, think about it, it makes perfect sense. If one of your biggest lessons in this life is to learn to rule yourself and be sovereign, which means having your hands on that wheel, right? Being the driver. How are you going to learn the lesson if there isn't something trying to get you to not have your hands on the wheel? So once you understand it at that level, you're like, oh, pretty much from the day I'm born, everything in this world is going to try to distract me, dissuade me from the truth, get me to get me off my path. So I waste my time. So I have to end up repeating everything, repeating the whole lesson. So once you understand that, and the quicker you understand that, it's like, oh, I get it. It's a challenge. Challenge accepted. I'm not afraid. Challenge accepted. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna do this. Okay, then I'm gonna keep my hands on the wheel because I want to experience that. I want it. I want to. It's my birthright, and I'm here to learn how that works, and I'm here to take responsibility. So I'm gonna do that. Here I go. Oh wow, it's harder than I thought. Well, better keep applying that willpower. Better develop some courage to keep going because that's what it takes, right? So you keep iterating. And obviously, the more you do that through your lifetime, or the more time you do that, again, that time concept, the more you consistently keep that practice up, then you start to reach a level of mastery. Just like any other skill, you start to master the art of being in control of your own mind at all times. You're much less likely to be infiltrated. Mental viruses, you're immune to them. Bullshit, you're immune to bullshit. What a great thing it is to be immune to bullshit. I have to tell you, it's one of the best things in life that people cannot bullshit you. And it's a real joy, right? It makes the liars look ridiculous because you can see through all of their lies, almost like they were Swiss cheese, just full of holes. But you have to develop that, right? It's but it's worth it. But the distractions are always going to be there, and we all cave into them. I've caved into distractions. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first to admit that I wasted a large amount of my life. There I said it. I wasted the majority of my life on stupid distractions, feel
Yes.
good bullshit, unimportant stuff, because I took my hand off the steering wheel, and I take responsibility for that. But now I know, right? I'm still here. I'm alive. It's not too late. Even if I died and I had to come back, wherever you are in whatever lifetime you are, whether you're 5 years old, 50, or somewhere in between, if now is the moment. If you realize it,
Yes.
now is the moment to embrace that and
Never too
start
late.
doing. It's never too late, literally.
So we are, as human, are confronted with the harsh reality of uh, uh, getting older, and this false sense of security, and this tool that it is used to control. And I'm talking about this astrological symbol and thing, and it's called the clock. The clock is the master of a lot of people, and we are all, almost all, dependent on the this relative time, this tool that we're having. And there, this is the thing: time can be used as a weapon. If you're always stressed out because you think you're late, it's all in your head that is happening. You're not late, you know. You're not running after your time, you're losing it. And I want to bring back, because I'm just looking to the questions for a moment. Jean Vincent, can we consider that sometime losing the control over our life is inevitable to take fully and understand deeply the and take conscious of our reality and our present alignment? Did you understand that? Because I translated
Um, okay.
the
That's a
question was,
ask it one more time, and I'll see if I can interpret it.
yes, can we consider that sometime losing the control over our life is inevitable to take fully and understand and consciously that the reality and the alignment to present your present?
Let me take a stab at that. Um, this is just my interpretation, so hopefully we got it right. Um, Maybe the question is: are there times when it's just inevitable that we're going to lose control, and that's part of the life lessons?
Yes.
I would say it a little differently. I would say it's coming to recognize that there are aspects of reality that we cannot control from the beginning. Natural law would be an example of that. We cannot change natural law. We cannot change the fact that we live in a mental universe, a universe of consequence, a universe that is always in motion. These are things that are out of our control, right? We cannot control the fact that gravity is always operating, but we can take certain actions to ride the wave of gravity, to be able to take off from the ground. There are going to be certain events that happen in our lives that are unexpected, and yes, it could take us by surprise, and it may seem like we don't have control because there are outside forces acting on us. The part that we can always control, or that we should always control, is our behavior with respect to our responses to the world around us, to the decisions we make based on whatever has happened, even if events happen that are outside of our control. Yeah, so we become the master of what we can control, which is our inner domain. We can always control our inner domain, and defending ourselves from threats both within and without, and learning and growing. So um, we release the prison when we unlock the mental prison, because it's all being driven from the prison of the mind. When we can unlock the
Sure.
mental prison, then we can start to release ourselves from the physical prison.
I had Maria um to talk about this. Actually, we went through the mind, heart, body cage,
Yeah.
like quickly, and it was very interesting because she brought up that we had this part there that is our mind. If you have blockage there, then there's a lot of things that you cannot do or you will not do efficiently, like the throat chakra, this talking, things like that, and
Yep.
everything that is connected with the five sense too. And it's very grounded, very uh, uh very rooted into this reality that we're sharing, and it means everything. The What Mario said this night that I has a podcast, it was so important, so crucial to people to understand. because this most of the mind control is happening between your ears.
Yep.
It's fear isn't real. It's real because you feel it, but nobody is feeling it other than you.
Yeah, and
You're
it's
you
also to try to convince you that things that are in your control actually aren't. So it's a deception. It's trying to tell you, oh, you actually can't control your own mind, your own thoughts, your own. You can't be the master of your own actions at all times. You can't. Uh, yeah, it's trying to tell you a big lie, which is that you don't have control over the things that you do. And then of course it's lying the other way by telling you that you should try to control things that you can't control, or that if you just imagine, magically things will be different, then somehow they will. So yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it, is taking back your own mind so that you can control the things that are in your own domain.
Mhm. I just want to take the time to uh, um, say hello to people. Debbie, Gilberte, Jean Vincent. I've seen. Let's see. I just want to take the time to do it. Eric, Lisa, Jennifer. I maybe I forgot some. But pardon me about that. I'll get back to it later. Alain, and blow your mind
Nice.
is there. So yes, there's plenty. There's a lot of beautiful comments. Like to
I
it's
can see
always
some of them.
what?
I can see some of the comments, but not all of
Yes,
them.
well, I it's all like scarce
Yeah.
everywhere. It's mixed up together. I don't have the comments from my personal page. I think so. That's why I need to go on Facebook and look at there. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like it's hard or something, but you know, I have to like constantly switch between and seeing if everybody is there. So if you have questions, people, and subject or question or comments, go on. Um, I'm actually we're having a conference here, virtual conference. It's all gonna be all in French, and I want to invite people. I know there's some people who's gonna be there. Jean Vincent is there. He's one of the organizer of the, and I've seen Gilbert. So we're putting it up. We're having a few interview now. So I'm it's awesome. Let's keep this keep on the great job, and it's gonna be called Le Carrefour. So I go see that, and if you, I mean, if you can understand French, I mean, it's not for you, but um, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna present a initiation to the occult and go and do a quick overview of the occult and trying to make it visible. So let me see something. So we're talking about time, and this is one of the things that I want to bring up is this validation phenomena. So much people are wasting their time looking for validation or being accepted.
I've been guilty of that a lot
I mean,
in
I
my
mean,
life.
we've all been doing that. This validation, it doesn't matter because it doesn't come from inside. We, you as a human being, your your value is infinite. You are powerful. You are magnificent. It's because we don't know it. We forgot how beautiful we are because we were covered with all this propaganda, all these things that takes out your value from you. I mean, they want you to believe that your value is less. And I want to come back because this little thing there, fucking great book.
One of the best books that you'll ever read in your life in any language.
It's free on in the internet, PDF. This book is freaking awesome. I know there's a lot of people who have read it. Jean Vincent did it, and there's some people that I send it because I sent it for free to people, and I need to ship two more because I forgot. So this book there is very important because it makes you understand the value of an individual in society, and the quality of the time that we're putting in our education is everything, because the more you have ignorant people, the more control and the more chaos you have, because people doesn't care about the well-being of the others. They don't care about the well-being of themselves.
And there's that time concept again. You know,
Yes,
it's one thing
exactly.
to say, here's a great book to read, but if you don't take the time to read it, and it's less than 100 pages in English, I'm sure in French it's not very long either. Um,
Hmm.
it's less than 100 pages in English, so it's a
Yes.
relatively small book. Easy, it's an easy read because it's written in very simple language. Um, but you got to spend the time. You so this is like the connecting time with the free will choices, because we always have a choice of how to spend our time. You could go off and catch another episode of Breaking Bad or whatever the latest, Netflix/HBO, whatever you're watching. I don't get me wrong, I love a good show and I love a good movie. So I'm not saying don't ever don't ever watch a movie or a show. I'm not saying that, but you're at a decision point. Fred just shared with you a book that's available in English and French that could literally change your life. Are you going to spend a little time to download it for free from the internet? 5 minutes of time to find it and download it, and
eight
then
bucks
maybe a couple.
$8 in French.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
maybe
take $8 and fucking buy it.
a couple of hours, of time that's not going to be painful, because I can tell you from my perspective, I'm sure Fred agrees, it's a really joyful, it's a pleasure to read this book. It's a pleasure to read this book.
Yes.
This is not drudgery. This is, oh my God, where was this book when I needed it when I was a kid? Where was this knowledge when I was younger? That's the kind of response you're going to have. You're going to be drawn into it, but you got to spend the time. So that choice to go and I challenge everybody on this podcast to go to actually follow through. And I'm going to do this. Because I've already read the book. I'm going to go back and reread it. So who's going to accept the same challenge to either read it for the first time or reread it before, before even the next LIBERcast, right? Let's do it.
Easy breezy.
Make it happen. People break their neck to get a raise of a salary, to get their job at the corporation. Make a little effort to read an important book. I mean, how else can we put it, right? You have free will, but the choice you make is gonna affect the outcome.
Well, however we want to put it, you need to fucking read this if you didn't. That's simple as that. It's like ABC.
Yeah,
It's like learning ABCs.
yeah,
It's that important.
yeah.
I mean, I'm rereading it, and I'm fucking always fucking satisfied and stunned by the truthfulness of this
You
book.
always find something new, and it reinforces, you learn better the things that you've already read, because when you go back over concepts, you can deepen your understanding of the same concept.
I mean, it's like 90 some page.
Yeah.
It's like it takes like a few hours to read it. So that's some good time. That's some quality time you get there. You know, it's like having time with your family and kids. It's like fucking if you i- like me, I have a family, you know, and I'm not wasting any fucking time. I mean, I like to do something else sometimes. I'm like I like I like playing with my kids, but I don't always do that. But it's so important to take every second of your time and enjoy your life. It's not always dark. It's not always like foggy. It's not. You need to take back your time, and when you see you can say no. I think this is another thing. If you don't want to give your time to people, you don't have to. You keep it. You keep it and you enjoy it as much as you can. I'm not saying like hedonism style, you know. I mean every just take a minute and realize how important it is to get every minute, every second, because you're not getting them back. Every time you're like if you work like 8 hours a day, 40 hours, 50 hours a week, you're not getting them back. And this is the darker part of time. And this is what we were saying about time as weapon, because they're convincing you that you need to buy things that you don't need, and doing things that it's worthless.
Yeah, wasting your resources
Because
on
I mean,
crap.
this is you're giving them your time and they're giving you money, but there's no way they can be equal in the count the quantity of money that they're giving you for every minutes and hours of your life. It's unjustifiable. If you're some in like I don't know in United States, but now the children 12, 13, 14 years old are starting to work, and they're paid like miserable wages. And they're
Yeah.
because the children are like they work and they have money and they're so happy, but they don't realize that they can never getting it back. When you're 12, it's not time to work, you know.
No, it's like, what was I going to say about that? Oh, I had an insight and then it flew out of my head. But basically, it'll come back to me. Anyway, just keep going. It'll come back to me.
There's a pattern, there's a cycle in your life, in your year, during the time of the year. There's differences. Your body will respond. And by the way, every month your body is cleaning itself out. It's cleaning itself. So whatever people are saying to you, no, you cannot heal. It's all lies. Because your
100%.
body, if you give the nutriments and the food that you need to your body, you can do miracles with your body. But how much do you care?
Yeah.
This is the
I remember
question.
now what I was going to say before, Fred.
Yes.
Something about what you said, just this popped into my head. You say we've all heard this expression, selling your soul to the devil. But I think people don't really understand what that means. It's not right? It's not just writing a contract that you're going to literally sell your soul. It's allowing yourself to be paid to waste your time. That is selling your soul. That's right. That's the definition of selling your soul. Allowing yourself, accepting money to waste your time on bullshit instead of doing the right thing. So part of reclaiming your soul and developing your soul and being a sovereign being is saying no to someone trying to buy you out, to waste your time on as a corporate drone, and to help build someone else's dream, or even help build a prison. Because a lot of times when you work for corporations, you're just helping feed the system that is designed to imprison all of us, to create an external imprison. It's just part of that, right? As opposed to working for yourself, doing your own thing. So I mean, stop selling your soul. Say no say no to something when it's wrong, when it's actually immoral. And that's it. Alan says, David, do you have a claim of rights? I'm not sure what he means by that.
I don't know. I cannot quite get it.
I'm not sure. Maybe if you can clarify your question.
Maybe it means, do you have the claim of what is a right? I don't know.
Is that the question? Should we clarify the objective difference between right and wrong? Or, if you could just clarify your question, we're happy to answer any questions. That's what we're here for.
So, doing the right thing is, because I mean, he asked the question. I don't know if I get it right, but doing the right thing is aligning yourself with the natural law and truth.
Someone said soul is part of. Yeah, I mean, don't get caught up in the terminology. There is we have a soul, which is the aggregate of all of our experiences across different lifetimes. So not just in this lifetime. And so in other words, when we die and we're reborn and we go through different experiences, there's an aspect of us which lives on. And that's the part I'm calling the soul.
The energetic part.
Yeah, spirit can refer to everything that exists that is not the physical world. That is basically the reality behind the physical reality. It is all that exists, is spirit. But we're splitting hairs because these are just words that we use to try to understand these concepts. It's the concept that matters, not the word itself. We could call it, bugaboo, and as long as we all agree that it's bugaboo, it means the same thing.
There's so many ways, because soul sounds like religious words.
Yeah.
This is why we're calling it spirit.
Yeah, and I'm no fan of the New Age. Don't get me wrong. I'm no fan of the New Age deceptive religion bullshit. As much of a active vocal opponent of deception there as anywhere else. But we have an aspect of ourselves that transcends this lifetime, and that's what I was referring to.
Oh, we're not supporters of New Age.
No,
at all. I mean, there's good things into New Age, but you're fucking wasting your time there. Because they're never gonna send you through the old thing.
They want you to. A big part of the New Age is it wants you to spin your wheels. They want you to waste a lot of time being inactive. It's really, the New Age religion is mostly about suppressing the sacred masculine act, taking action, standing up for oneself, standing up for what's right, for what's true, speaking truth, being honest and open. That's what the New Age religion is mostly trying to shut down. So it has,
Alain is talking about, did you actually ask permission to be sovereign from the government?
No, I never asked permission to be sovereign from anyone, because we are born sovereign. It's already part of our nature. Like, we're here to learn how to actually put that in practice. No man-made institution grants sovereignty, right? That's irrelevant.
Yeah,
Because what happens is, let's say I would go to the government and ask for permission, and let's say there was even some paperwork that I could fill out to become a sovereign, to declare myself a sovereign. That's all I'm doing, is giving credibility to that they have a right to manage that, or to ordain that, which is complete nonsense. I don't need anyone's permission. No piece of paper is relevant in that matter.
I mean, this, Alain. I know, we know what you mean, and I have the same. I have the same rhetoric for myself. I mean, I'm not gonna ask anyone. I'm not gonna ask anyone for my sovereignty and my freedom of being. I'm not asking. And yes, no, there's no retiring your consentment when you're doing nothing, and you're silent. You're giving your consent.
Yeah, it's
There's
tacit
no way.
approval. Yeah, tacit
I
approval.
never, the only way to not being inside, it's not to cooperate with it. If
Yep.
you have the chance to live secluded into a wood, and you have nothing else, then yes, maybe you can feed yourself. But if you have a family, if you have a responsibility, it's not. I mean, for me, it's not possible. I have to do things in order for my family to survive. It's not because it's not a permanent thing. I don't have to. I'm never voted in my life. I never participated into voting for and things like that. But there's a reality that we're living in, and until we are grown up as civilization, as a society, we will be enslaved by the ignorant. We will be enslaved by the people who are following orders. This is why abolitionism and anarchy are key into that. Abolitionism is the refusal of every authoritarian tyranny. Because when you're talking about authority, you're talking about violence and coercion. The only thing, free will, free will, it's only applicable when it's about yourself. You
100%.
are free to choose whatever you want. Doesn't mean that you have the right to do it or not the right to do it. How do we discover what is right and wrong? Can you explain that to people, David? It's fairly simple.
Yeah. Yep. And actually, it's interesting that you asked that, because I'm going to be doing an updated version of a video that I did a long time ago called "What is the Right." I'll be doing an updated presentation to really put that in focus. But the simplest way to explain it is, in this reality, we have right and wrong. So everything that we do, we have free will. We can do whatever our will desires. We can do it. But there are right and wrong actions. And the way we know what the difference is, it's much easier to understand what a right is when we understand what a wrong is. So a wrong is when we take something that we have no right to take it, right? A wrong is simply theft of some form of property. So murder is theft of someone's life. Assault and rape are theft of free will and bodily autonomy, bodily sovereignty, ownership of one's own body. Trespassing is theft of privacy and autonomy within one's abode. And theft of property. Coercion is theft of free will. So you're trying to get people to do things that they don't actually want to do. And deception is theft of knowledge required in order to make the right choice. So you're deceiving people, so they end up making the wrong decision because they didn't have the right information, and you intentionally misled them. So those are the 7 types of wrong, and a right is any of the infinite things that we can do that is not a wrong. So that's the beautiful thing about it, is we have infinite rights, and there's really only 7 things that we shouldn't do if we want to experience the maximum amount of freedom for everyone in the world. That's the stipulation. I mean, obviously, people have free will. People can do wrong things. But the more we do wrong things, the more everyone suffers, the more slavery there is, the more suffering there is, the more chaos there is, and more control. Because that's natural law stepping in and teaching the lesson a different way because we didn't understand it. So rights are simply anything you could do that doesn't take something wrongfully from someone else. And so
Simple.
Another way to think about it is the only thing that you owe, the only other thing that you owe any other person, or that any other person owes you, is just to leave you in peace and not harm you. That's really it. It's really that simple. Leave other people alone and expect them to leave you alone. And obviously, if someone doesn't, then stand up for yourself and put a stop to that. Could be as simple as saying no. Most self-defense starts with just saying the word no. And then obviously in some cases, usually in a rarer case, you'll have to actually physically defend yourself. But, it's reciprocal. So that's really right and wrong. And when we understand that and we can just fluently live that in our life becomes incredible, because now you maximize your freedom. You start to create more freedom for everyone around you. And you greatly reduce the amount of suffering in your own life and in other people's.
Absolutely.
It's just brilliant.
Absolutely. Because there's truth to be known. I mean, I stumble all the time on the solipsists and moral relativists, and I think it's a very prominent mindset that needs
Oh
to
yeah.
be corrected. And I'm choosing my word. And corrected is for me is a soft word. I mean, we have to realize we're adults. I mean, I think we're adults, and as adults we have responsibility for our family, for our neighbors, for a nation, for a society. If you want to stay in this condition, I mean that you have like a certain freedom, then we're gonna have to fight for it, because
Absolutely.
we dance so long too much with the devil, you know. We let it like fucking mess everything, and now it's the time to fucking realize that we have a responsibility as humans, you know. If you want to stay in a civilized society, I mean half of what would be good for evolution, not devolution, not involution. Just for that, we need to fucking grow up and mature and put more time into educating the young with useful knowledge, and stop wasting their time with garbage like this fucking Sodom and Gomorrah shit that we're living in now. You know, for the people who know what Sodom and Gomorrah, this is the part in the Bible before the extension of this people. People were confused, and they were always partying, you know, and they were fucking there was fucking debauchery. And this is what we're getting in. People are so confused about everything now because they're wasting their fucking time onto social medias, and they think because there's like people around them who think like them, that everybody is thinking like that. It's a fucking fallacy. It's fucking immature. It's fucking childish way of seeing things. It's like now the world has start turning because of social media, and people like they're swallowing everything like it was fucking truth. And this is where discernment is coming into the work. Fucking wasting their time with like useless garbage, like fucking challenges. They're fucking eating.
It's
Uh,
chasing validation. To go back to
yes,
what you said earlier, Fred,
yes,
it's all, a lot of this is chasing validation, and it's getting people to chase validation. That's a big part of it. And if you look at if you look at a lot of the most popular social media posts in the mainstream, it's all about, you know, the more people like it, and all the comments are like, yes, I agree with you, oh, of course, that's true, so true. It's all about kissing people's asses, really. It's blowing a lot of smoke and then kissing people in the ass, because it's like, oh yes, I agree with you, oh, that's such a great point. Meanwhile, they're condoning immorality,
yes,
and condoning behaviors that are clearly wrong, and people are uh, validating it. And it's just, you're going to get what you deserve. If we keep doing that, we're all going to suffer, because the reality is going to be based on a fiction. It's going to be based on lies. It's going to be based on something that isn't actually true.
so you invite people to get uncomfortable into their
Hell yeah.
this self-discovering and discovering of knowledges.
Yeah, you've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to even be willing to. I was on a call today, on a different podcast, and I felt like the guy was trying to pin me in the corner, and
Really?
make me. And it's out in the public record. I mean, the podcast hasn't been deleted, and I felt like he was like trying to debate me, and that wasn't my intention, and tried to like pin me in a corner to admit that I was a bad guy because I didn't agree with him, something like that. And I just
Hmm.
wasn't going for it. But I wasn't walking away. I wasn't like a little child, like, hanging up the phone. I kept standing my ground and kept saying, no, I don't agree. No, I don't agree. This is my position. This is what I think. I
Yes.
own my own mind. I own my own thoughts. This is how I think. May not be the same as you. That's how I think. You got to stand your ground, basically. If people would just stand their ground on principle in all their interactions, again, this is a behavior that if more people would do this, even in their own sphere of influence, things would start to change very, very quickly for the positive.
Hmm. Oh, I mean, I'm fucking allergic to echo chambers. I'm
Yeah.
getting fucking my nose is getting runny, man, and shit like that. I'm joking, but I fucking hate it. You know why? Because people get complacent and people get like that cocky, you know, because they have 15 people that they think like them, is they're getting cocky, and I mean, I cannot fucking tolerate this shit. That's why I mean, this is why I'm fucking bursting the bubbles. This is what I like to do. It's like fucking poking the needle in the bubble and make explode, and break the conditioning, you know, because there's always a danger, even in the great work. You get onto this knowledge, and then you start to understanding things, and I think it can turn like spirituality, all these spiritual like shwar outside, they're gonna tell you everything you want to hear. And I mean,
Blowing smoke up
you
your
need
ass.
it's like red flags. Like if
Yeah.
somebody it's giving you honey, too much honey, then wait a little bit. The shit's gonna come later, and they're gonna
Yeah.
convince you of anything that you want to, and this is the danger of the false spirituality, the full spirituality. It's and it's very dangerous. Even David and us, even great workers, can get caught into these cults and these organization without even knowing them. I mean, I'm myself, I'm very um cautious about where I put my attention to the people and the groups and things like that, because I have the tendency to burst the fucking bubbles of people. I mean, I don't have many friends, but I mean, things are like that. I mean, I'm and by the way, for the people who are still there, oh my god, thank you for being there and keep listening to this full of wisdom and question. And thank you for being there. And the true people are there. Let me see. Sophie, Jean Vincent, still there.
Yeah.
Sophie is always
Ask
there.
away.
Eric,
Like,
Chantal.
I love those questions. I love it when people ask a question or want to consider something more deeply. So it's an open conversation. So if you guys have a question, just go ahead and shoot it.
Yes. So I mean, I will give us like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If we don't have question, I'm gonna stop it right now. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
almost 2 hours.
yes. Hey, it's going fast, man. It's
What
going
was the homework
fast.
assignment? Anybody write it in the comments. What's the one thing that everybody's taking home as a homework assignment? Just one. There was only one thing we all agreed upon, hopefully. If you, well, again, you have free will, but the one thing that we encourage everybody to do before the next podcast, what was that? Go, someone write it in the comments so people remember.
I'm gonna look
People,
into it.
see if
So
people were paying attention.
yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of there was a lot of French people. Yeah, read the book The End of All
That's
Evil.
it.
Exactly.
The End of All Evil by Jeremy
Lire
Locke,
le livre.
Locke.
Exactement, Alain. The best example of learning through knowledge is enlightening a child. Their fascination when they have to discover some things. Absolutely. Exactly. I mean, I have children, and they're this is so beautiful to see them realizing life and consciousness and all these things, and you help them and guide them, and it's very empowering, and it's a beautiful relation you have with them when you respect their individuality, and you respect their sovereignty, you know and teach that the important thing is to teach them.
I, I had a question about that actually, now that you brought
Yes.
it up. This is something I was already thinking of doing. So I'm just going to ask you, Fred, and anyone in the audience what you think. Um, I was going to create at least one video, maybe it was going to be a series called Natural Law for Children, specifically to start teaching these concepts to children in
Hmm.
like a simple format. What do you think of that idea?
Creating you mean creating a cartoon or something like that, or BD or something like
Like
that.
a video.
Yes. I mean it's very doable, you know but it would have to at least have um a decent quality, so they can join people, because there's so much competition on YouTube and Rumble
Yeah.
and all these stuff that you have. And I mean, yeah, I think it's the great idea, but I need to be brought back into the education of the young, and not only it's the responsibility of the parents to learn them what is right or wrong, and what
Yeah.
these principles are. And I think the work is there. It's to
Yeah.
show people and then make them understand. And if they're they connect with this, they're gonna teach them to their children. And it's about breaking cycles, the cycles of ignorance. So I mean,
It could even be
whatever
in like a
whatever it
child's.
takes, whatever it takes.
Yeah, it could be like, and I don't want to. I'm not saying that we should exclude the parents. I mean, the parents should be the ones teaching, maybe using a tool. So maybe another example could be, and somebody may have already done this, um, a children's book. So children's book. So it's small text on each page with a concept and an image. Where instead of these books that are just like blah blah blah, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Not, I'm not saying these stories don't ever have any value, but it would be a book teaching maybe one or more of these occult principles, but teaching them in a way that kids could understand it. Kids even under the age of 10 could get it.
Let me see. I'm looking for
Just something I'm thinking about, because obviously the education of the children is so important in this process too.
let me see if I still have the conversation. I'm looking for the famous book. I will have to see it, and I will have it on under on YouTube. So let's see. Here we go. So thank you very much, David, for sharing your time with us tonight, and your wisdom and your understanding of these things. And I think they're never uh, talked enough. So we have someone who's really natural law books. We need more. We need more. We need more
Yeah.
people with different talent and different qualities and knowledge to cover this, because it's, I mean, we're not enough. We're not enough people, and
Yeah. And here's a piece of.
usually it's directed to adults, so we need to vulgarize it, and and put it, people have already did it.
Yeah, and here's one idea I'd like to plant in everybody's mind just to consider. So when I started doing the great work, I made a commitment to be more of a purist. And what I mean by that is as you start to take the red pill and discover that reality is very different than the way we think it is, as we were growing up, as you unplug from the matrix, so to speak. There's a tendency on the part of a lot of content creators to focus on the problems and focus on the prison, describing the prison. What does the prison look like? Going into excruciating detail about the deceptions, for example, the
Yes.
Convid 1984
Mm.
deception. Go like so much content is created around that, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have investigative journalism and shouldn't do that, but the way that you and I, and the way that we can really spearhead this and move this forward faster towards a better outcome is to remain very pure to teaching the core principles, because very few people are still doing that. Even in the alternative media, it's a lot of focus on problem, problem, problem. Think about Alex Jones is always prison planet, prison planet. The elites, whatever terms he uses, um,
Yes.
focusing on them, them, them. And I'm not saying that they aren't a problem, but we're the real problem in the fact that we don't understand this stuff. So the real solution is to teach natural law. This is the solution,
Yep.
to teach natural law, which means that, of course, you have to be a student of natural law. You have to commit to studying it. And since it is something that really could take a lifetime to master, it has to be it's going to be an ongoing process. So, I mean, it's not going to be like, oh, I learned everything I need to, now I can go teach it. No, you learn, 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 and then you teach something once you really understand it. Learn some more, teach another important principle. So, really focus on teaching the principles of natural law. What the difference between right and wrong, the fact that we get consequences based on those outcomes, the fact that we are co-creating reality together, and if we can agree that reality kind of sucks, it's because we're doing a shitty job of creating the reality, and we need to change that. So, and here's how we change it, by learning how it works, how we
Yep.
work, learning how we
Principle
can be,
first.
yeah, focus on these things. This is what's I think is still missing. I don't want to be overly critical, but like even in the One Great Word Network, there's a lot of great content creators, but there's still a very heavy amount of content that's focusing on the problem and dissecting the
Yes,
problem and explaining the problem. What
exactly.
what we really need is all 70 or so content creators in that network and all the rest of us to focus on the solution, teaching the core principles and teaching them as clearly as possible in simple to understand terms. The truth is always simple, explaining it
Yeah.
ABC, in a way that we can get it, and explaining it over and over again, because the bad guys with their CNN and their Fox News, they keep repeating the lies 24/7. So we got to be speaking the truth 24/7
So
collectively.
yes, absolutely. What a beautiful words. Some beautiful words to. We're done. We're done with this other edition of the LiberCast, and thank you for the people who was there, who has been there all the time. So welcome. Thank you very much, people, for supporting the LiberCast, and I appreciate it. And I gratitude to all of the people and the guests from the past. Again, I mean, you're the pillars of the LiberCast. The people who are supporting it and the people who are partaking in it and sharing their wisdom. So just remember, people, where they can get your work before we're going.
Great. Yeah, I would love for people to check out. Yeah, I'd love for people to check out my work. My website is always the same. It's freedomvibe.art. You can see it right there, freedomvibe.art. That's where I post everything. I do a lot of, I'm starting a whole new type of content. I won't get into a big explanation, but basically I'm starting to do more presentation styles, although they're shorter. They're not like multi-hours, usually like 30 minutes. Like, what is a right? What is coercion? Should you pay your taxes was a recent one that I did. Go check that out. Should you
Yes.
pay your taxes? A really good video. Super, check it out, integrate the lesson, and then share it with everyone you know. But freedomvibe.art is where you can find it. I put out 6 songs so far. So go check out my songs. Let me know if you like them, hate them, or somewhere in between.
Yes, and they're featured most of the time. They're featured on the LiberCast Facebook page. By the way, um, go on the onegreatworknetwork.com and support the people who are there, and just go there and discover all the endless hours of incredible stuff. Douglas Martin, Will Keller, and David and I and all the other people that are there, and they're incredible. Uh,
Here's something you can do to really support both of us, like that doesn't cost you any money and will take a little time, but not a lot of time, right? Go, make a commitment to go to each of our social media. So Fred is on YouTube, on Odysee, on Facebook,
yes,
maybe a few other places. I'm on all those networks as well. Go like our pages, join the group, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the Odysee channel, do things like that. And then, find a recent post that really resonates with you. Look at some of the recent content and then just share it with your network. Like,
yes,
honestly, if people would just do that more, that already is like that's worth, millions of dollars in terms of being able to reach people. It really is, because it's exponential growth. Because every person, if you have like 1,000 followers, let's say average person has a couple hundred, maybe 1,000, maybe more. Every time somebody does that, they're literally multiplying the reach of the content by thousands of people. Just think about that. Think about how powerful that is, that small gesture. And it only takes, maybe it'll take 30 minutes of your time to sit down and do all that. Just, so that would be my request. Don't worry about donations. I mean, if you want to donate, that's awesome. But donate your time. Donate your time, and then go read the book. Yeah, because reading that book you'll learn what you need to do next. It's going to give you the blueprint to what comes next in your own journey. Like, that's the beautiful
hmm
thing about reading a book like that. It'll give you the blueprint.
And they made a French translation. It's fucking cheap. There's no justification to not buy it. Just fucking buy it and read it. So yes, Facebook is on. Facebook is well. The LIBERcast is on Facebook, YouTube, and what's the name again?
Odyssey.
Odyssey, Odyssey, and it's on BitChute. I
Yep.
didn't get
Same
got
here.
censored from there, nor on YouTube. But my stream for Zeitgeist 2 moving forward was a little bit censored. I don't know if people have been if they cut it from my page, but they didn't like it. So I was, and I'm gonna stream the third one really soon on the LiberCast and on my personal page for the people who are interested. This is the French version of Zeitgeist 3 addendum, if I'm not wrong. So thank you very much, people, and see you soon. Take care.